I vary my style depending on what bike I'm riding, you know, and what sort of speeds and the road surfaces. On a road bike, you normally run out of ground clearance before you run out of tyre adhesion. But normally when you're out riding, you've got to watch the road and look for sort of oil, petrol, gravel. You know, sort of never take it for granted that the road's going to be the same as it was yesterday when you come around it. You know, sometimes you can just pick the bike up, you know, you sort of avoid it, but, you know, don't overreact. Other times you mightn't have time to, and you pick it up as straight as you can and ride through it. You can learn a lot like that by trail riding. The main thing is good tyres. That's about the only modification you make to most bikes. The factories do a lot of testing and they set them up pretty good. If you wanted to do sort of interstate touring where you're riding reasonably quick, you know, the lower bars are a fair bit more comfortable at speed. And as far as you're leaning forward a bit, and it just takes some of the strain off your arms. With high bars, you find when you're touring, you tend to be sort of dragging off the bars all the time. There's quite a difference between braking on a two-stroke to a four-stroke. On a four-stroke, you've got a fair amount of engine braking. The actual back brake doesn't have to work as hard. When you're changing down, you've got to calculate the revs of each down change, you know, as you let the clutch out. With the two-stroke, you can virtually just keep knocking it back gears and just letting the clutch out without worrying about revving the motor too much. Especially on small bikes with fairly close gears. With the bigger two-strokes, you've got to rev them a clear bit.
What I'm doing, I'm aiming to get the machine perfectly straight for the rock step here. And from the rock, the flat rock, I'm trying to carry the wheel to about 2/3 up the step, then closing the throttle, and then the machine will roll over. While I'm doing that, I'm getting online for the next part of the section. And when I'm doing this, I am in first gear. And now we make the very tight turn round here, using the rock 2/3 of the way around the corner to stop the wheel sliding out. I'm physically lifting the machine onto the rock, and then I'm opening the throttle, not fully, but part way, to pull the rear wheel over the step. But as I'm doing this, I'm twisting the machine around with my body, so I'm getting my next position, which is a very tight left-hand turn on the rock slab, with a lot of sort of sand dust on top. And this is very, very delicate, because if you give a little bit too much throttle, the front wheel will slide away. When you start to run the wheel on the rock, you turn with the handlebars and using the throttle and pull the complete machine round, possibly 45 degrees. And as you're coming very, very gently with the gas, you're pulling at the handlebars, or lifting at the handlebars, to carry the front wheel over the next few stones. Whereas if you didn't carry the wheel, the front wheel would drop into the holes and it would stall the machine or you'd fall off. So we're carrying the wheel around the corner, and I need to then lift my machine right over to the left again to get the machine perfectly straight for dropping down this next rock step. And I drop down here using both brakes and no gas, and I put all my weight then to the back of the machine. So then I'm sitting right over the back wheel, and I'm keeping weight on the handlebars, lifting at the handlebars to carry the crankcase over the sharp corner of the rock so it really doesn't bang down too hard. Making this left-hand turn, I'm going back on with the gas again, with the throttle, then off with the throttle again, turning the handlebars and keep lifting at the handlebars and going gently on with the throttle to carry the machine then down the next particular step.
Well, the first thing I'd do is set up handlebar position, levers, back brake and gear change position. Now, how this is done, first of all, you sit on the motorcycle, forward of the seat, right? Bring your arms down in a relaxed position with your elbows bent. Now, the handlebars I have slightly laid back. Now, this stops me wrist fatigue and elbow fatigue and things like that. The reasons why the shocks aren't coming up directly from the front wheel. Now, lever position I have slightly down because most of my braking is done standing up on the footrest. Now, gear change pedal is so when you're sitting on the seat you can change gears without taking your foot off the footrest. You lay the bike into the turn, you get up to the front and your foot's out and the power's on, and if that power is not on enough, you overbalance the bike. So your power's got to be exactly right with the way you're leaning, because if you're not leaning the right way, the bike will fall down because of its momentum loss. Now I'll put the foot up the front, which will hold the front wheel slightly in the air, which will give the back wheel time to drift. Once you've got your body weight set on the bike, you variate the throttle to keep your front wheel light on all the time. Back brake position is so you can ride with your foot on top of the back brake without locking it on. Now, what I mean by this is that when you say going over rough terrain and things like that, you have to have movement in the back brake pedal. Else, you could come up there and your foot could hit hard on the footrest and lock your back brake. If you're getting chucked over the front, try and get clear of the bike. But if you're sliding it down into a corner, stay with the bike and keep going down with it. And usually it'll just, you'll be quite safe that way, really. At the moment, the back wheel should be braking traction to do the turn. The front wheel's very light on all the time on the turn. I've turned the bike early and it overslid on me slightly, so I turned the handlebars and altered my weight. If the bike lands sideways, slightly off balance, you've got to pull your weight to the other side of the bike and accelerate. You've got to have the throttle on to drive the back wheel back into a straight line and to bring the front wheel light on again. And when I hit the berm here, I'll hold my foot right in front of the bike so I can hold it up as I do the turn. The throttle's on hard now. At the moment, my hands are relaxed on the handlebars. There's no effort at all really on that turn. It's only the foot that holds you up.